In the vast oceans of our planet, there exists a narrow passage of water that quietly controls the rhythm of the global economy. A place so small, yet so powerful, that if it were blocked for just a few days, the world would feel the shock. This is the Strait of Hormuz. At its narrowest, it is only 33 kilometers wide, yet it links the oil-rich Persian Gulf to the open seas. Every day, enormous tankers carry energy that powers the lives of billions across continents. But the strait is more than just a shipping route. It is a strategic choke point, a geopolitical flashpoint, and one of the most sensitive locations on Earth. A single disruption here could spike oil prices, shake markets, and ripple across economies worldwide. Quiet and unassuming on a map, it is a lifeline that sustains modern life, from electricity in our homes to fuel in our cars to goods in our stores. The question is simple: why does this tiny stretch of water matter so much to the entire planet? The Strait of Hormuz lies between Iran to the north and Oman and the United Arab Emirates to the south. It serves as the only maritime exit for the Persian Gulf, a region that holds some of the largest oil reserves on Earth. Every day, massive oil tankers travel through these waters, transporting energy resources to markets across the globe. Countries such as Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq, Qatar, and the UAE depend heavily on this route to ship their oil and natural gas to the rest of the world. Without this narrow passage, much of the region's energy would struggle to reach global markets. Imagine a highway used by nearly a fifth of the world's oil supply. Now imagine that highway suddenly shrinking into a narrow bridge. That bridge is the Strait of Hormuz. At its narrowest point, the strait measures just 21 nautical miles across, yet the shipping lanes used by tankers are even tighter, only about 3 kilometers wide in each direction. One mistake, one conflict, or one blockade could disrupt the flow of energy and trigger a global crisis. Every single day, around 20 million barrels of oil pass through the Strait of Hormuz. That's nearly 1/5 of the world's total petroleum consumption, making this narrow waterway one of the most important energy corridors on the planet. But oil isn't the only resource moving through these waters. The strait is also a critical route for liquefied natural gas, especially shipments from Qatar, one of the world's largest LNG exporters. Tankers carrying this fuel travel thousands of kilometers to reach energy-hungry markets across Asia, Europe, and beyond. The energy flowing through the Strait of Hormuz powers modern civilization. It fuels airplanes crossing oceans, keeps factories running, drives transportation networks, and lights up cities across the globe. From the skyscrapers of Tokyo to the streets of London, from the crowded neighborhoods of Mumbai to the bustling avenues of New York, millions of lives depend on this invisible supply chain. Yet this lifeline is fragile. If the Strait of Hormuz were suddenly closed, even for a short time, the consequences would be immediate. Oil prices could surge overnight, global markets might panic, economies could slow dramatically, and everyday life, from transportation to electricity, could face serious disruptions across continents. The Strait of Hormuz has never been just a shipping route. It has also been a strategic battlefield, one where regional conflicts can quickly become global concerns. During the 1980s, in the midst of the Iran-Iraq War, a dangerous chapter known as the Tanker War unfolded in these waters. Both Iran and Iraq began targeting oil tankers traveling through the Persian Gulf, hoping to damage each other's economies and disrupt energy exports. Commercial ships carrying oil became unexpected victims of the conflict. Tankers were struck by missiles, damaged by mines, and attacked in open waters. Dozens of vessels were hit during this period, turning the busy shipping lanes into a zone of constant danger. As attacks increased, the risks for international shipping grew dramatically. Insurance costs for vessels passing through the region skyrocketed, and many shipping companies feared sending their tankers into such a volatile area. Around the world, governments and energy markets watched nervously as global oil supplies hung in the balance. Eventually, the escalating danger drew in major global powers. Warships from the United States and several allied nations began escorting tankers through the strait, aiming to protect commercial shipping and keep the vital flow of energy moving. Because the Strait of Hormuz is so vital to the global economy, it has become one of the most heavily militarized waterways on Earth. Powerful navies patrol these narrow waters every day, ensuring that the steady flow of global energy continues without interruption. The United States Fifth Fleet, based in Bahrain, regularly operates in the region. Its warships, aircraft, and surveillance systems monitor the waters and escort vessels when tensions rise. Iran, whose coastline stretches along the northern side of the strait, also maintains a strong naval presence. Fast patrol boats, coastal missile systems, and surveillance drones closely watch the ships passing through this critical passage. In such a narrow and sensitive waterway, even small incidents can quickly escalate. Military vessels from different countries operate within close distance, carefully observing each other's movements. The goal for all sides is simple: keep the strait open and secure, because even a short disruption here could trigger a global energy crisis within hours. The Strait of Hormuz may appear calm from above, its waters glistening under the sun, but navigating this narrow corridor is anything but simple. Every week, hundreds of vessels, oil tankers, cargo ships, and LNG carriers pass through these tightly controlled lanes, each carrying energy that fuels industries and powers cities around the world. Massive tankers, some stretching hundreds of meters long, must adhere to strict traffic lanes, moving in carefully coordinated directions, much like cars on a highway. But unlike a highway, there is almost no room for error. One wrong move, a collision, a stranded vessel, or even a mechanical failure can block the channel entirely. The danger is compounded by the region's political tensions. A deliberate attack, whether by missile, mine, or other means, could instantly halt the flow of global energy, sending oil prices soaring and disrupting economies worldwide. History has repeatedly shown that these risks are not theoretical. From past conflicts to modern standoffs, the Strait of Hormuz remains a fragile and strategically critical lifeline for the world. Over the years, the Strait of Hormuz has been the site of numerous mysterious and alarming incidents. Tankers have been damaged by sudden explosions, sometimes leaving crews scrambling for safety while investigations struggled to determine the cause. Other ships have been seized or detained, creating tense standoffs that drew international attention and highlighted the region's volatility. Naval confrontations between powerful nations have also occurred, with warships and patrol boats maneuvering carefully to avoid escalation while maintaining a watchful presence. Each incident sent ripples through the shipping industry, raising insurance costs and forcing companies to rethink how they navigate these strategic waters. In 2019, the strait experienced a particularly dramatic escalation. Multiple oil tankers were attacked in a short span of time, triggering immediate shockwaves through global markets. Oil prices spiked, uncertainty spread, and fears of a larger military conflict loomed over the region. The events of that year served as a stark reminder to the world. The Strait of Hormuz is not just a shipping lane, it is a fragile lifeline, essential to global energy security and deeply intertwined with international stability.
The ongoing tension in the Strait of Hormuz stems from a volatile mix of geopolitical rivalries, military posturing, and the constant threat of disruption to global oil supplies. Iran, strategically located along the northern edge of the strait, maintains a strong presence and continues to assert control using asymmetric tactics. Fast attack boats, missile systems, and even naval mines are deployed in these waters, often putting commercial vessels at risk and reminding the world of the strait's fragility. The U.S. Navy and other international forces maintain a heavy presence to ensure freedom of navigation, but frequent confrontations with Iranian forces create a constant risk of escalation. Beyond direct naval encounters, Iran's use of proxy groups in neighboring regions adds another layer of complexity, while threats to close the strait in retaliation against sanctions further heighten global anxiety. With nearly a third of the world's oil passing through this narrow waterway, any interruption could trigger a severe energy crisis, sending prices soaring and economies into turmoil.
Experts often pose a chilling question: what would happen if the Strait of Hormuz suddenly closed? In an instant, the global energy landscape would be thrown into chaos. Within hours, oil prices could surge dramatically, sending shockwaves through markets around the world. Countries that rely heavily on Gulf energy, particularly in Asia and Europe, would be forced to scramble for alternative supplies, negotiating with other exporters and adjusting their energy strategies overnight. Shipping routes that normally funnel millions of barrels of oil and liquefied natural gas through this narrow corridor would have to be rerouted, adding delays, increasing costs, and straining international logistics. Economies could slow as industries dependent on energy face immediate shortages. Financial markets would likely react with panic, triggering volatility in currencies, stocks, and commodities. Even everyday life, from transportation to electricity, could feel the impact. The Strait of Hormuz may be just a thin line on a map, but its closure would demonstrate how profoundly the modern world depends on this fragile and strategically critical lifeline. The Strait of Hormuz reveals a powerful truth about our modern world. Though it is just a narrow strip of water, its influence stretches across continents, touching the lives of billions of people who will likely never see it. Every day, energy from the Persian Gulf flows through this fragile corridor, powering industries, fueling transportation, and keeping cities alive. From the factories and airports of Asia to the bustling ports and cities of Europe and North America, millions of people depend on the uninterrupted passage of oil and natural gas. Even small disruptions can ripple through economies, affecting everything from the price of gasoline to the cost of goods in markets thousands of kilometers away. The strait is a stark reminder that the global economy is deeply interconnected. Modern life relies on complex networks, many invisible to the public, yet essential to daily living. Sometimes the stability of the entire planet rests on a single passage. One accident, one blockade, or one act of aggression in these waters could trigger economic turmoil and disrupt the lives of millions worldwide. The Strait of Hormuz is small in size, but its impact is immense. Quiet, narrow, almost invisible on a world map. Yet the Strait of Hormuz is far more than a thin ribbon of water. It is one of the most powerful and strategically vital waterways on Earth. Every single day, massive oil tankers, liquefied natural gas carriers, and cargo ships pass through this narrow corridor, carrying the energy that powers modern civilization. These vessels are the lifeblood of industries, transportation networks, and cities across the globe. From fueling airplanes to keeping factories running, from providing electricity to lighting homes, the flow of energy through the strait sustains millions of lives every hour.
Though it measures just a few dozen kilometers across at its narrowest point, the strait's influence stretches across continents. Its waters are closely monitored by powerful navies, and its security remains a top concern for governments and markets alike. As long as the world depends on oil and gas, the Strait of Hormuz will remain at the center of global attention. It is a reminder that sometimes the fate of the world does not rest in capitals or financial centers, but in the narrowest of places, a small corridor whose impact is immense and enduring.